And you're going to lay down?
Fall down.
You're going to lay down on that dirty ass ground. I would sooner rather stab out my eyes with a rusty spoon than lay on the forest floor. And you're just going to lay there like nothing's wrong.
I get it. You need a moment, and maybe you're kind of wandering around.
Where's your cell phone, bitch? It's 2009.
It's 2009. Hi, I'm Kyle, a tired therapist.
And I'm Jackie, also a tired therapist.
And together, we are
two tired therapists. Welcome to the pod.
Welcome,
you bitch.
Oh my. Well, welcome back to the professionally led podcast.
Oh God.
Known as Two Tired Therapists.
So sorry.
Jackie is unprofessional.
I'm so drunk.
And so drunk.
That might be an interesting episode if we literally got blitzed and just...
That'd be scary.
That'd be scary, though. There would probably be a lot of beeps and
what
a lot
do we
of...
talk about?
I don't know. We'd have to talk about something that, like...
I was talking about flicking the bean in the last episode.
You were talking about flicking the bean. But a lot of people probably don't understand what that means.
So that's the female equivalent of pulling the padge.
I literally was about to say pulling the padge.
Pulling the padge.
Yeah.
Or masturbation.
Yeah.
So.
Book Edward, though, does it for you.
Book Edward does it for me, right. And I think this episode we might learn more.
We might
learn more.
Well, we gotta talk about what's tired.
We do talk about what's tired. Would you like to tell us what's
tired? Things that I hate, like did you see all the memes that were like what's in for 2024 and what's out for 2024? Well, I'm tired of that. But I feel like what I'm going to put on my out list if I'm going to do a meme is what's out is giving women weird feedback about how they present at work. Like, oh she's so aggressive. Oh, and she's really just like passionate about something. No. I was talking to a coworker about this and we both women got fired up and we were like, have you ever been told something and she was telling me that she got told she was aggressive once and she was like, I was not aggressive. I was just really passionate about what I was talking about. Right. But one of my interviews thought I was aggressive and said it multiple times. And I was like, oh, no, I hate it. Tired of it.
It's like that when people say like, oh, you're intimidating. No, you're intimidated.
Right. You're intimidated. Right. I'm not
These
intimidating.
are your feelings, not mine.
Also, if you got to ask yourself, if you're going to give feedback to a woman, if you would give the same feedback to a man.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times you would not.
Right.
I once was told I was too high energy, which I still really don't know what that means to this day. But I can't imagine a man would be told the same feedback. Hopefully the person who told me that does not listen to this podcast.
Well, and if they do, you're a flop.
Well. That's another off-air thing I'll tell you.
Right.
Anyways, so Kyle, what are you tired of?
So, when you go to places like McAllister's or what's the other one, like Panera?
Yeah, like the casually,
like a casual
soup
like
sandwich
deli
place
sort of thing, and you get a little Sammy, you get a little sandwich, and it's basically a salad.
Yeah,
there's like so much roughage on it.
Yes,
like I like a little a little spinach, a little arugula.
Right.
But I don't need
bread.
I don't need the full salad. I don't need
a little bit of chicken. I don't need or whatever.
Right. I don't need all that.
Yeah.
So we got to stop. Panera, if you're listening, please stop that. Just a little. Just a little is fine.
Well, and the thing is, I love Panera, but it's gotten so expensive, and the price, honestly, is not worth it anymore. Also, if you drink their lemonade, you're going to die.
Oh,
but
don't. Oh, I can't. No, I can't do that. Did you see? There's a meme that says, like, anyone who's elected to the Senate has to be able to drink those or something.
It was really, this is so off topic and very political, but we spent a weekend with my brother a couple weeks before Christmas, and he was saying that I guess Donald Trump had some rally where he was talking about the lemonades. It ended up being totally fake, but whoever generated the fake story had some very like really hilarious quotes about Donald Trump said about the lemonade. Like it was like, when I was president, the lemonade didn't kill you, thanks Joe Biden, or something like that. And we all thought it was so real, and then we realized it was fake.
It's
true. It was so funny. But
Sleepy Joe Biden. God bless.
Let's go, Brandon.
Still waiting for him to forgive my student loans. Come on.
Oh my God. Don't talk to me about Molia. We cannot speak about Molia.
Is that how you say it?
I think so.
I say Mohila.
I said it as Mohila, but...
Call in,
please.
Call in
Mohila. Mohila, Molia.
Molia?
Hate him.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I think they've been great. Oh, what's going on with you?
Oh, long story short,
they keep forbearing my loans. I'm like, okay,
I love that for you.
Sure.
I've been paying for a while. So I was in forbearance for a while. Long story short. Got my little letter. I did my little application, my income driven, because there's no fucking way I'm going to make a $1,300 payment every month on my student loans. That's more than my mortgage. No. So they come back with their calculation the first time, and it is $633.
Yes.
So I did not. I guess I didn't call them, or well, you couldn't call them. You still can't call them because it's a 4-hour wait. I did wait on the hold one day for 3 hours.
Working. Yeah.
So I wrote them a little message and it said that it would be answered within 3 business days. Spoiler alert, it was not answered for about 8 weeks.
Oopsies.
But I was like, I can't afford this. This is like about half a mortgage payment for me. Cannot do that. I need to pay something else. And then they put me in forbearance. Thankfully, I did another income-based, the same application, literally the same one. Right. 4 weeks later, they gave me it's like a $200 payment, which is what I was paying a long time ago. So I was like, that's fine. But
so yeah, this is off topic. But for anyone with student loans out there,
it sucks.
That's why I'm in forbearance, is because they're really behind on the new income plans. They're very behind on calculating those payments correctly.
Yes.
So they're just doing this forbearance thing until they figure it out, because they don't want to charge people incorrectly.
Well, and I didn't realize that everybody got switched to them because they're the primary one that will do the the public student loan forgiveness. So because I was so confused, because I had Great Lakes and I loved Great Lakes.
Yeah,
Great Lakes
they don't exist anymore.
Nope, they're gone. I miss them deeply. It's fine. So now I deal with Molia, which there's a whole Reddit sub forum that I am subscribed to.
Of
that's
course you are.
PSLF and how everybody hates Molia. And they
interesting.
Sucker Mohila.
Well, there's another one too, because Edward he's dealing with something. It's an N.
Net something. There's another one.
Netio?
Net loans or net federal
Netisa?
Or whatever.
Something like that.
Justin is also in forbearance with Molia.
Yeah.
Mohila.
Yeah, they're just calculating your payment. But I need to call in and be like, does this still count?
Well, somebody posted on Reddit not that long ago and was like, yeah, I called and it was like a 3-minute wait. But the one time I called, I hung up because it was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Because they literally probably have 2 people working the phones.
Well, and everybody who has called them says like they're great on the phone. Like they're really helpful. They're very nice.
Yeah. I called them one time forever ago and they were super helpful.
Well, I didn't realize also PSA to anybody who has student loans and is doing this. You have to also reapply for a PSLF every year, which I didn't.
You have to recertify.
I did not know that. Yes. I have to ask you off air who I need to contact at our former workplace, because I need them to certify that I worked there for the time that I did.
Your manager.
Oh, they used to have like a form.
And they'll retcon it, so they'll go back.
Yeah, because it was cut off funny. Anyways, we'll talk about
it. Anyways, today we're here to talk about something far more important than student loans.
It's a new dawn, a new day, a new moon.
A new moon. Which is, why new moon? Why not? I mean, full moon would make more sense.
I think the moon thing is because of the werewolf thing. Spoilies. Because of the werewolf.
But that's full moon, right? Not new moon.
But it's new because...
New moon is when there's no moon.
Because Jacob's a new werewolf? New moon? I don't know.
Okay.
Who the fuck knows?
Well, Stephanie, call in. Let us know what's going on.
We talked so much shit about her in the last
episode.
About her
she probably does though. I mean, she probably just like all day Googles her name, and so then like we'll come up and she'll be like, "What is this?"
That'd be hilarious.
Like these fuckers.
But we're gonna go through New Moon like we did for Twilight, and Godspeed to you all. But let's just do a quick little plotty plot.
Yeah.
So if you have not watched it, lots of spoilies.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry to you. Mm-hmm. This is probably more entertaining than the movie would be. Maybe, I don't know. This one's not.
Oh, I think
this one's interesting. Anyways, so this movie takes place pretty quickly after the first movie, and it starts with Bella's 18th birthday. Where she has a dream that she's an old lady and Edward is forever young, and it's like a little bit of a nightmare. We'll talk about that in a second. And then they have a little party for her at their house, and she's opening a gift and she cuts her finger, and then Edward's brother Jasper,
hilarity ensues,
tries to attack her
because he's the newest vampire,
right?
And it's harder when you're newer too,
right? We didn't talk about it in the first movie, but he was a new vampire, so he was having a hard time being around normal people, non-vampire people. So he tries to kill her. Edward stops him. There's a big family fight. Several of the vampires smell her blood, and they're like ready.
They're like G2G.
Yeah, they're like ready. Yeah. She also somehow inexplicably cuts the shit out of a weird part of her arm that should never really have been cut the way that it was positioned.
Well, she gets like thrown across the room.
Yeah, she gets thrown across the room.
A lot of that happening.
So she starts bleeding. So Carlisle helps her. Edward is fine. She just gets stitches. La la la. Well, quickly after that, Edward is just despondent with whatever his problem is. And decides, I'm going to dump this bitch. Walks her into the woods, dumps her. Sorry, this is the Jackie rendition of this.
We'll have to talk about that.
Brings her into the woods for a walk, dumps her, and then just fucking bolts. And he's gone until pretty much the end of the movie, so he's totally gone. So Bella is in the woods trying to like yell at him. And I kind of remember less of this book. I don't know about you. This book to me, I had struggled remembering. So she's in the woods. She's walking around. I remember in the book she was tired, but she kind of like stumbles and she falls over, and then she like starts to fall asleep in the woods. We'll talk.
We'll have to deal with that.
And then gets saved by something that she sees like with its eyes. Well, in the movie, she is coming out of the forest with one of the people from the Quay reservation, and then she goes into a deep depression.
Yeah.
And doesn't really want to do anything. She kind of starts, Charlie, her dad, kind of gets in her face and is like, you need to do something. She just decides, I'm going to start acting like an idiot.
Right. And I'm going to go manic really quick.
Right. I'm going to do some reckless stuff, and we're going to see gross zombie action movies.
Right.
I'm going to ride a motorcycle.
Right. I'm going to jump off a cliff.
Because she has these, like, essentially hallucinations of Edward telling her not to do anything dangerous.
Really him. They never really talk about this.
It's not him. It's her mind. It's silly.
Parents.
So she wants to see these hallucinations of Edward, that because one of the last things he said to her was like, you know, don't be reckless, or like be careful or whatever. So she's like, you know what, I'm gonna do the opposite of that. And then,
yeah, exactly.
So then she reconnects with Jacob a little bit more, and they start becoming friends. Well, then he kind of gets a little bit weird. They go to a movie with one of her other friends. Her other friend has to go home. Jacob gets really fucking pissed and then bolts. And then roids out. Ghosts her then after that. So then now, of course, she's like doubly depressed. Like, everybody hates me.
Double abandonment, borderline personality disorder.
Right. And then decides, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to confront the other people at this reservation who like he's friends with. Punches a guy in the face for whatever dumb reason. We'll talk about it. And then realizes that Jacob turns into a werewolf. Spoilies.
Right.
And then kind of starts understanding like the legend from the first movie a little bit better.
Right.
Well, she also decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hike in the woods. Well, then comes across the meadow that her and Edward used to like stare at each other's eyes in. Well, then if you remember the last one of the nomadic vampires, his name was Laurent. Finds her in this field, and she says, "Oh my, where's the Cullens?" And of course, her hallucination comes out, and Edward's like, "Lie!" And you know what she does? Lies terribly.
Right.
Can't even like string a sentence together. You can tell she's still
like, "Oh, they're at the 7-Eleven. They'll be back.
They're getting gas.
Yeah, they went for a
they're on vacation. Don't ask where they are.
Right.
They're you can't contact them." And he was like, "Well, aren't you their pet or whatever?" And she was like, "Yeah," but you can obviously tell she's like freaked out to talk about Edward.
Terrible
and then he's
acting.
like, "You know what? I'm gonna kill you because Victoria is gonna kill you."
Right.
And
so sorry to her.
But I'm not gonna kill. I'm gonna be very quick about, which I was like, that's kind of nice. He's like, "I'm gonna be quick. It's not gonna be painful for you." But Victoria was basically gonna torture you. As he's about to like kill her, the werewolves come out and attack him.
Right.
Bella runs the fuck out of there like, oh my God.
Gotta go.
Starts telling her dad that there's some crazy wolves. And this is before I think she realized Jake was, I think I did this a little out of order, but it's fine.
Yeah, she did at that point.
This was before. So then when she confronts, that's so sorry. Anyways, I'm so drunk. So then she finds out he's a vampire, or not a vampire. She finds out he's a werewolf. They explain that there's not an outbreak, but there's more werewolves because of the vampire stuff. There's been more
coming back to hurt people.
Yep. And so the movie is essentially just her sort of like feeling better in a weird way. And then Jacob obviously tries to flirt with her the whole time. He's like, please, you know, who gives a shit about Edward? And then all of a sudden one day, like one of Charlie's friends dies. They get a call at the house, and Alice just shows up and then basically says, "Oh, Edward's gonna go kill himself in Italy. Right. He's gonna go to the Vortori, which is basically the equivalent of like the police for vampires, I guess.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati of vampires." And tries to kill himself. Long story short, they reunite in Italy way at the end, and spoilies, they don't die. But they come out barely unscathed. We'll talk more about it. I won't go in depth right now. But they come out unscathed mostly, and
for the time being.
For the time being, and then they go back to Forks, and Edward at the end is like, "Marry me, bitch," and that's where it ends.
Basically.
Literally, that's what happens.
Marry me.
So let's get into it.
Let's get into
Let's get into it, girl.
Well, I think the first thing we have to address.
The
wig budget. We talked about the wig budget increased. The makeup budget increased. The makeup,
it did get better.
Everybody was looking a little more tan. That was really nice.
They made the vampires look a little more. Yeah, I mean, I know they're supposed to look more, like dead, but
not like they had powder on.
Ashy.
Right.
Right. So they looked anyways.
And the wigs were doing great. We still had some questionable Taylor Lautner at the beginning. We still had some questionable choices of hairstyles of the wigs, but I was pleased. Why
did they never show him with his hair up like in a bun? Because that would have been better, I think, in some ways. Like a little man, not a little man bun because he had long hair, but like a man bun. Like,
I don't know. And what's the thing with their hair is long, but then when you're a werewolf, it gets short?
Well, that's why they all cut it, because if they have long hair, their wolf hair is too shaggy. So when they all turn, they all cut it short, which is why, because that was a big thing when he came out with the haircut and the abs. Oh, do you remember watching this in the theater? People screamed.
That was something I said, that clearly watching this as an adult, this feels different, because as a teenager, bean flicking time, like. Especially when the rain scene where she goes over like in the rain and he's got no shirt on. He's got these tiny little shorts and he has no muffin top whatsoever, which I'm
he's got like an 8-pack.
How in the world? But even with that, I was like, as an adult, I'm like, oh.
We thought that was hot.
That's okay. I mean, he's a cutie, but it did not. I did not get the bean flicking action that I did as a child.
No. I do want to talk about the dream she has, and I do want to just say why does he? Well, he explains it later, but what's his deal with like not wanting to turn her? Like he wants her to be like a grandma. Like it's so weird to me.
They talk about it later.
They do, yeah.
But I think it shows to me. It's it shows to the strangeness of the fear, because I would think again,
aging is a huge like weird theme.
If he's okay, if he's like, I'm fine with this, well, doesn't that suggest that you've aged mentally? And so the idea of dating someone who's old is not so weird to you.
Right.
So isn't this weird for him to then date a teenager? I mean, she's 18 now. I get it. But like, it just
makes me mad because I'm like, this man will like straight up be like, I can't, like, I'll let you become like an old lady. Like you will look like my grandma.
Right.
But we'll be like holding hands.
I'll still have sex with you.
Yeah. Like I don't get that. Like it just makes me.
No.
But aging is a huge theme in these books. Like the aging and all of that and how.
Well, it's the question, and a question that I was going to ask you later, but like, would you change your partner to a vampire? So like if you were a vampire.
Yeah.
Would you change Justin to a vampire?
Not him.
Oh my. Are those divorce papers? Oh my god.
I would change my part. Because like that's shitty. Like I mean, you're basically saying I'm going to be your partner for maybe let's say 70 years on average.
If
like
you're a vampire, that's 2 days.
Right, that's like nothing to you. That's nothing. Like I just if you We'll talk about it because it really comes into play in Eclipse, like where he explains sort of his rationale. Yeah. But still, at this point, though, it doesn't make any. It does not make any sense. No, it doesn't make any
sense why he's being such a little turd about it.
A little bitch about it.
No.
I will say, soundtrack is again a banger.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And her birthday weirdness, same thing with the aging. Like she's very upset about her birthday, doesn't want anybody to talk about it, doesn't want anybody to reference it.
I don't ship them. I don't ship them all. Them when they kiss, it's disgusting. I can't stand it. I can't look at it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, and then the beginning, they're at school and they're doing the Romeo and Juliet thing. So there's a lot of heavy blah blah blah. Like I love him. So and it's.
This might be a little. This is a little spoiler alert. But I had the thought, because Jacob's like pretty obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Do you think he's obsessed with her or the egg inside of her that becomes the child that he imprints on?
I think he's obsessed with her until he sees that
baby.
Animatronic baby.
And imprints on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk. Some of this.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
That's a little tidbit for you later, but.
Well, that's what he says later. He was like, "Oh, we always had this tie, and that's why we had this tie. It was because of the thing you shoved out."
And I did think you mentioned that she goes to the Collins for her birthday, and I did think it was cute that they went like all out.
They did. It was really
because they don't celebrate their birthday because they don't. No. So I thought that was really cute. But I alluded to this in our last episode because you said Alice, like that's so cool she can tell the future. But I think that would get annoying because, like, for her birthday, she was like, "Here's a present.
You'll love it.
I know you'll love it." Don't you get that would get fucking annoying?
Also, why didn't she see this thing happening that she cut her fucking finger?
Oh.
I mean, maybe it's bigger stuff. Maybe it's like big. I think they explain it better in the books about how she can see.
Yeah. Well, because she can't see Bella. Remember, Bella's immune to her power.
She can see Bella. She can't see Bella when
she can only see around Bella.
She can see Bella, but
Bella's immune
to Edwards, but not.
Yeah, all vampires.
No, she can see. She can see her future. She can see part of it.
She'd have to look around people.
I thought she could see into her.
Because spoilies.
This fucker.
Bella's a shield. So like none of the vampires could do anything to her. So it was kind of the same with Edward. Like he couldn't read her mind. He would read other people's minds to see what she was doing.
In Eclipse, Alice explains that since her visions are no illusion of the mind, but rooted in reality, she can see Bella's future. On occasion, Alice's predictions become of feelings instead of visions of a certain future as far. Like I remember it changes. Like it changes. So if your decision changes the vision, I remember she can see Bella.
Can she?
Yes, because it's very clear in the last one when spoilies.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I can't see you anymore. But when she can't see the werewolves, so when Bella is with the werewolves, she cannot see Bella. That was the whole
thing. Yes. Why Edward went to kill himself is because and the wolves block her powers. So she couldn't see her.
Did Alice see Bella coming to Forks? And it says yes, Alice had foreseen Bella's arrival into their lives before she actually
said she did.
Yeah. So yeah, she can see. Anyway, it's fine.
Anyways, it was cute. But
it was
the birthday things. But
let's talk about the vampire. Let's have suicide discussions in this movie book, and like the explanation of the Volturi, which is basically like they're the Illuminati / cops of the vampire world that they decide that like
the head family.
Yeah, and they like if you do something wrong, they will be the ones to come and give you hot sweeping justice.
Right. Exactly.
And so
it's all about preserving, like you don't tell anyone you exist.
And all the people who have been in there forever. And Carlisle was a part of them at one point
for a bit,
and then left. But they like to collect vampires that have special powers because some of them can like cause pain, some of them can numb you. I was like, man, there was a lot of more violence. It gets exceedingly more violent the more movies that are.
For sure.
Like didn't remember that part of it.
Well, the Volturi, I mean, they eat people. They don't believe.
Yeah, they don't give
they're like like true vampires. They're like, nope, like we basically rule.
Literally live in a dungeon underground. It's fine.
Literally in Italy.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah,
it's fine. But the other thing I wanted to say that her cut also her paper like the paper cut that was not just a paper cut. That bitch needed stitches.
She sliced.
She needed a stitch on her finger. Right. Okay, I was like, I wrote that
self-harm.
I was like. Paper cut
and on like wrapping paper
and then it dripped onto the carpet and I'm like that ain't no paper cut.
That ain't no paper cut.
Anyways, I also wanted to know, and then it was answered almost immediately because they gave her a digital camera, old tech alert, and I was like, oh, are they going to show up in the pictures?
Yeah. Well, I think
they do.
I did like that about Stephenie Meyer, and that she did take some like creative license in.
Yeah, they're not like
the fables of. Yeah, like the whole like, oh, they can't be in the sun. Well, it's because they fucking sparkle.
Yeah, it's because they glitter. Stupid, not that they die. Not that they light up on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think in the book, I feel like I remember she asked him that. Like she was like, "Are you guys gonna show up?" And he was like, "You're so."
Yeah, funny. I remember in the book it was Right. But then after the whole calamity happens, Carlisle stitches her up, and they talk a little bit about soul and not having a soul, and like how Carlisle and all of them don't really have a soul because they're vampires. And Bella's like, "Well, I don't really believe that because like, how could you not have a soul? Because you're like a nice little doctor,
right? You're a nice little sexy doctor."
And he's just like, that's really nice of you to think, and you've always been really gracious to me and my family, but like that's not how we all think. And I was like, this is a very like philosophical and like
it's
almost esoteric conversation to be having with like maybe your like a future father-in-law.
And also like, can you imagine, it's also a little like cultural too, like can you imagine going to like, I don't know, if your partner was like, I don't know, like from Russia, and you're like, well actually you shouldn't celebrate this that way, and they'd be like, well, that's how we kind of do it,
right?
Like it was kind of that where she's like, well, you're wrong, bitch, you ain't, shut up.
Yeah, it was
a vampire.
It was weird. I also thought it was weird, and I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I don't know if you know this. Like he stitched her up, and all the bloody stuff, he just lit it on fire.
Well, I think so they wouldn't find it in the trash and eat it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, we're just like, okay.
No, I think
fire.
Yeah, I think he didn't want like Jasper to find
that
it.
Makes sense.
Munch.
You think that they'd have like a? Never mind. The bio thing wouldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then obviously after this, the things go south pretty fast.
They go south fast. Yeah.
And I wrote also how dumb is Bella to think everything is fine when Edward is wearing a suit everywhere. Like after that whole thing, he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up to school. I think for a little bit.
Right.
For like
they're like helping Jasper.
I want to say in the book it was like a week maybe.
It was a minute.
Yeah, because
and she didn't hear from him.
Yeah, he didn't like call her, no texting.
Because they were like taking Jasper hunting and he was having a moment.
Yeah, and like Jasper I guess was very upset. But I was like, wow. So he shows up at her house. And he's like, let's go for a walk in a full like suit. And I was like, wow, you're stupid. Because she's like in school clothes. And I'm like, this man's in a suit. What do you think he's about to do? About to be like, hello, marry me. Like
probably. She's a dumb bitch.
So,
of course.
So they wander into the forest and they get like far enough to where they can't see Charlie's house. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, well, bitch, bye. I gotta go. I don't like you. Hate you.
Let's talk about his method. Because because he's trying to save her, right? Like he's worried about Victoria coming back. He's worried about like them being vampires and all losing control. But why? My question is, why didn't we just say that? Why didn't we just explain?
Because she wouldn't have accepted that.
It's not. That doesn't matter. He could have at least said, you know what? This is where we're at. This is really scary. And I just think it's best we go our separate ways. But instead he goes, you're a fucking bitch and I can't stand
He's like,
the
you're a
sight
human
of you.
and I don't like you. I don't like your ugly smell.
I
don't like your ugly wig. I don't like your... like, that's kind of what he did.
But he literally... Right. So like...
It was so dumb. The book, I think in the book, I'm sure the dialogue was almost 100% the same as the book. I remember it being much more heartbreaking in the book.
Right.
Like I remember there was a lot more back and forth. Like I remember her in the book was like, "What do you mean?" And he was just like, "Well, I hate you." And she was like, "You hate me?"
Right.
He was like, "Yeah, I hate your fucking guts."
I mean, that's like, basically what it was.
But like, I remember the book having more. I'm gonna have to read them again because
I have a long.
I can't believe it's fine.
But then so that happens, and then there's the drama in the woods,
right?
Where we
and you're gonna lay down,
fall down.
You're gonna lay down on that dirty ass ground. I would sooner rather stab out my eyes with a rusty spoon than lay on the forest floor. And you're just gonna lay there like nothing's wrong.
I get it. You need a moment, and maybe you're kind of wandering around.
Where's your cell phone, bitch? It's 2009. You got your cell phone.
Where's your sidekick?
Right. I'm like
that bitch.
I literally wrote no cell phone ? She didn't have her cell phone with her.
And just lies down. Goes, oh, I sleep here now.
So and then some big beady eyes are looking down and some weird breath. And
and meanwhile the whole city's looking for her.
Right. They're just in Charlie's driveway. No big deal. The chief of police just can't find his daughter.
Just can't find his daughter. No big deal.
And then this man comes out, shirtless man in shorts comes out of the wood holding her. No one says anything. I was like, what?
I'd say, first off,
why are you
this is not search and rescue attire.
Well, right. Why are you not
cut off jean shorts?
Like, he'd be like, did you do something to her? Like,
right.
Like, did he touch you?
Right.
Show me on the doll where he touched you. It was just, no one reacted to that. I was like, this is so weird. Back. But yeah, so then, and of course, she tells Charlie, obviously, and then the night terrors come. And we just need to talk about the night terrors because I don't understand why she's having night terrors. I'm so sorry.
I was with you because my thing was depression, right? She gets depressed. She's sitting at school at the lunchroom. She's sitting at the Cullen table in the cafeteria. I was like, girl, stop.
Desperate Slag.
Desperate. I am really Slag. Desperate Slag. And then I said nightmares ? But I think what with the nightmares is when she was attacked by James. I think that's what I think a little what some may say PTSD.
I think it's because Edward dumped her.
Well, that's what I thought at first.
Because she didn't have night terrors, but I mean, if she did that.
But I do think in the book they do talk about she was having nightmares about him attacking her. But that was my thought at first of like, really? Nightmares because we got dumped?
Well, and
really?
Let's just talk about how, we can talk about it later. I have it much later in my notes. But no one's like, hey, maybe we should talk to like a doctor or like a therapist or like a psychiatrist. Like you're just she's screaming so much that like Charlie is having to wake up and wake her up like crazy. And then of course behavior. Like around this time she goes out to a movie with Jessica.
Right.
And she sees these biker guys and she's like, she bends over and she's like, hey baby, I want to get on your bike.
Why does she bend over?
No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't bend over.
It's like, what?
She sees these guys on a bike, and then she sees Edward, and he's like, don't.
Right.
Don't.
And she says,
and she's like, okay, bitch, guess what's happening?
Guess what's happening?
I'm getting on this bike.
Reckless.
And she goes with Jessica, and Jessica's like, bitch, what are you doing? You're
literally
nuts.
She was like, hey, what the fuck?
She gets on this motorcycle, and she's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm on a motorcycle with a random dude. No shit, Bella. And then she gets off, and then Jessica kind of yells at her and is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She's still seeing Edward through this whole thing.
Yes,
he's like, get off the bike.
He's like,
and she's like, I'm going to get on the bike.
I'm gonna get on so hard.
I'm gonna get on so hard. You don't even know. Literally, it's
no, it's literally just like that.
Does.
And then they just keep doing like montages of her like being depressed. And this is where I wrote like, why is everybody just ignoring this and not being like, are you okay? Like, right. And if you're not okay, we need to like do something. Like, why? Right. And I know this is like
3 months.
Oh, it was longer than that. I'm surely it was longer than that. Because I think her birthday's in September, I'm pretty sure.
Well, because they showed the little montage. It was like November, December.
That was pretty good, you have to admit. The montage was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
And then I think when she finally starts pulling her shit together, it's like December and or January or February. Like it's I
think it was like January-ish.
Yeah, because I think at the end it's like it's right by the time of finals or something. I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, that was the most disappointing thing to me. I was like, no one is like, hey. No. Like, clearly you're going through some shit. Like, yeah, this is a breakup. This is obviously you loved him. Like, whatever. I mean, you don't have to know the details, but
you were together for
like maybe 3 months.
Maybe
3 months. Maybe September. Yeah, maybe she moved in March, so 6 months maybe total at most. They didn't start dating right away, so definitely like maybe 4 months.
Right. Let's get it together. Yeah,
it's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
But then she decides after she gets on this reckless motorcycle, she said, oh, I'm going to get these junk motorcycles.
Yeah.
And then go talk to Jake.
Yeah, I'm going to see Jake.
And my note says borderline, because then she's like, oh, I'm fulfilled because I'm hanging out with Jake all the time and getting attention from a man.
Right. And she is, yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'll read you my notes from later. But I said, yeah, it's later. I didn't take as extensive notes for this movie as I did the other one, which is a shame. But yeah, and then she sits there and watches him do the motorcycle. It's just a beautiful little montage of them just like hanging out. But yeah, it's a little weird. It's like you had no interest in this until you thought you could see Edward. Mm-hmm. And
which is a little
ghost
shady.
Edwards. Yeah, it's like it's shady. Weird.
Poor Jacob.
Right, right. Oh yeah, she definitely like. Mm-hmm. I don't think she leads him on because at no point was she like, no, these legs are open for business. No. But
no,
but I think
she's a good Mormon girl.
Yeah, but I think there was a lot that could be misconstrued on her end that she did not correct. Yes. Like, I mean, anyways,
because like his friends were coming around. His friends were coming around and like
joking. Yeah, they're
clearly he was saying it was my girlfriend, and she just was like, oh, "You guys are crazy." Like, I'd have been like, no."
Right, and this is still long-haired Jake. This is pre-werewolf, and
still, yeah.
So they start hanging out, and then she's trying to get a group together to go to the movies. And so pretty much everybody at her school is like, yeah, let's go. And so she invites Jacob. Well, then what ends up happening is like everybody gets sick or some shit happens. Mm-hmm. So it's literally her, Jacob, and Mike Newton, who is this like flop Tina from from her school. And so they go to see the zombie movie, and because she's like she won't see romantic comedy, she won't laugh, she wants to see people's heads get chopped off.
Because he asked her at first.
Yeah, he asked her.
I don't know if
she changed the date into a group date.
Right, but then nobody came. But then Jacob was there.
Yeah, well, because he asked her, he was like, hey, you want to go to the movies? I thought we could see the Love is Love or whatever the movie title was. And she was like, oh, that sounds good. She's like, who else wants to go? And she was like, well, let's watch the Face Punch or whatever it was called.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Oh my God. And he's pissed. And then she's like, oh, I'll invite some of like the reservation kids, like Jacob and all of them. Right. Well, then on the date, everybody got sick or whatever. So it was just Jake and Bella and Mike.
And how triggering. Did you notice in the scene where like she was sitting between them and they both had like their hand open? Like I was so triggered because
that was a little rough.
Back in the day, like that's.
Oh yeah,
that was the symbol.
Yeah, that was. Are you gonna hold my hand?
And I was like, oh my God.
And then Mike gets sick. Mike gets so sick, and he runs out of there. And they're all thinking it's because it's like because of the
stomach flu.
The gore.
Oh,
well, they thought it was gore, and then he's like,
oh, stomach flu.
And then her and Jacob are having this like little moment where like maybe they're gonna kiss or like maybe they're gonna have a little thing.
Well, let's talk about that moment because. He's sitting there going, because he's like, oh, Edward left you. He's just a flop,
he's
whatever.
A little bitch.
And she's, he's like, I would never hurt you. And red flag. Because guess what? Literally in the next breath, hurt her. Men lie.
Yeah.
That's what I took from that.
And so Jacob loses his motherfucking shit on Mike and is like, blah, you suck. You suck so bad.
Right.
And like,
you want me to take you to the hospital?
Yeah,
I'll put you in the hospital. Like, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I could have looked at him and I've been like, you shut your bitch ass mouth up.
Right.
And
he was roiding.
Oh my God. Right.
Out.
And so they all go home and drop him off. Well, then after that, that's that night. Come to find out later, that's the first night that Jacob phased into being a werewolf.
Yeah.
But he ghosts her now. Because also part of the whole thing, which we didn't really explain very well at the beginning, but so when Bella originally goes to hang out with Jacob, there's this guy Sam and a couple other guys, and they all hang out a lot. They're all like a little pack together.
A wolf pack, if you will.
And that whatever Sam tells them to do, they have to do. And Bella's like, that's right. And Bella's like, oh, that's dumb. That's so dumb. And like, I might have to get drunk for Eclipse and like just recount the whole thing. And he's like, it's so dumb. And Bella's like, yeah, that is dumb. And so now after he ghosts her, Bella sees him hanging out with Sam and all the guys. So all these guys, their uniform is no shirt, cut off jeans, jorts, and short hair. So when she gets ghosted, she gets so upset. She's like trying to call Jacob. He will not respond to her, whatever. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to like do all these. I'm going to go there and I'm going to see him. So of course she picks the rainiest day of the year. She's like, bitch, guess what? I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive to the reservation. So she drives up there and Jacob is walking in the rain.
He's like moving wood.
He looks like he's going to kill someone, like serial killer shit, just walking, fists in little, like just looks so mad. And she's like, what?
In the uniform.
Right. And he's like in the uniform and she's just like, what? Like, why won't you? Yeah. And he's just like, I can't tell you what's wrong with me. And she's just like, well, what's the problem with you? And she's basically crying and saying how he can't leave her because, you know, I've
already been abandoned.
I've already been abandoned. You're the only thing I have.
We get it.
And I just wrote, Bella is a desperate slag. Find some hobbies that don't include dudes. Go knit or color.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm like, what is the matter? She looks so desperate.
She's so desperate.
So she's upset, and Jacob's like, bye, bitch. And he like walks away from her. He's like, well, he basically is like, don't come talk to me.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
Right.
So after this, she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hike to the meadow that Edward and I just stared at each other in. So I can maybe I'll see Edward there. Because she's thinking like, oh, it's dangerous. Well, this is where she runs into.
Well, and it's like dead. Did you notice?
Oh, yeah, the whole
everything
thing
was dead.
Well, and this was better explained in the book. Edward went to the meadow and ripped the whole thing out. They did not do this.
He did?
Yes, I remember that very vividly from the book. Yeah. He went and he ripped out everything. In the movie, it just looked like everything had died. It would have made more sense if it was all ripped out, in my opinion. But you'd have to have read the book to understand the reference. But
probably would have made.
I didn't forget that. And so she walks into there, and like we said before, Laurent, one of the nomads that was with James, was like, "Oh, you're here," and is like just tilting his head just staring at her like
walking in circles.
And then she sees Edward, and Edward's like lie to him because he's like, "Oh, where are the Cullens? Aren't you their pet?" And bitch just cannot lie. She just sucks at lying. Oh my God. And it's just.
He even says lie better.
Yeah, he's like, lie better. And she's just like, oh. But like I said before, you can tell she's still upset about Edward and the dumping and all of that stuff. So she's just like sucking and lying to him. And Laurent's like, well, I'm going to kill you. But I'm going to be nice about it. And as he's about to like kill her, the werewolves come out and get him. So she darts the other way. So she doesn't see anything what happens. So she runs back home to Charlie, and she's like, oh my God, they are not bears, because everybody thought there were people dying. They thought they were bears. No, it's the fucking werewolves.
It's werewolves.
But it was actually the vampires. And because come to find out, Laurent basically told Bella that Victoria's been hunting her and wanting to find her and has been coming to the area. Hence why there's been more vampires in the area, and that's why the werewolves have been like phasing more or whatever they want to call it.
Why did the Cullens decide to leave? They knew Victoria was going to come back. So that was dumb.
That or like in her mind, I don't know if Alice was watching Victoria. I can't remember if they talked about it in the books, but if she was watching her, I wonder if she like fake made a decision that she was not going to go and like hunt them differently. Maybe. And so I don't know. I don't know why. I think it was stupid for them to leave. I think they should have like.
Or maybe they were still watching her. I don't know.
I think Edward still had Alice watch her, but yeah, I did not understand that. But yeah, but it's interesting. It was so that whole thing happened, and then Charlie's like, "Oh well, we'll go into the woods and we'll look for these things, whatever." So then Bella's like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go confront the werewolf guy,
the werewolf king,
and I'm gonna punch him in the face." Yeah. So she goes and she's like, "Guess what? Like." I hate you. And it's not the main guy. It's the one of the others. And she punches him. He starts to phase at her. Jacob sees from his window, runs out, phases, and then they both start fighting. And she's like, oh my fucking God, what the fuck is going on?
Like, what the fuck is this?
I thought that was hilarious. And I wrote, I guess when you change into a werewolf, you also become into a gymnast, because they were doing some crazy ass like flips before they like phased.
Where are your jorts when you phase back?
You're naked. You're like the Hulk. You're naked.
Where do they get more jorts?
They have an endless supply of jorts.
They have to, because you see that shit rip off when they phase.
Right. It's. Anyways, so then they're like, "Don't worry, Bella. We'll take you to Emily's house, which is the main guy, Sam's
queen
fiance, and we'll just hang out until they're done fighting." I'm like, what?
Well, except her face has been mauled off, basically.
Yeah, so Emily's face is mauled off because Sam phased in front of her and like legit, and they're like, "Oh, don't stare at her," and you're like. In the book, I remember it being much more like, it was literally like
worse,
like across her whole face. In the movie, it's like on one side of her face, but I want to say in the book it was like bad.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, you're the vampire girl," like, and everybody knows her as like that, and she's like, "Oh yeah, haha, that's me," and I'm like,
and she's like, "You must be the werewolf girl." I was like, "Wow, what a rude bitch!
What a comeback!
What a comeback!"
I was like, you couldn't think of anything. I didn't write it down, but I was like, wow.
Or just not be a rude bitch, I guess.
Yeah. So
she's so awful.
So Jacob and the other guy that he was fighting with are done, and they're like laughing with each other, and she goes to like talk to him, and at one point I know she grabs his hair and like his stomach, and she's like, "This isn't you," and I'm like, "Why are you like?" This is where I think the mixed part of her like is not so great. Anyways, so I wrote down, why does she ever get involved in this shit, and then picks a side. I don't know why I wrote that, but I guess I had feelings about that at the time. But yeah, I was like, I wrote, what happens when you witness a person phase in front of you? Like, what do you do? Life is crazy.
Right. Life's crazy. Life. What do you do?
Like, what do you do?
Well, but
that's your whole life. Like,
you've already know vampires exist, so it's not that crazy to know that a werewolf might exist.
Right. When they very lightly introduce imprinting also. They don't actually say the word.
Right.
But we can talk more about it in the other book, but they do kind of discuss it. And then they're driving, guys are jumping in the ocean. Who cares? It's fine. And they're talking about how they know all the vampires are coming, and they've been like tracking them, and she's like, "Oh no, they're coming for me."
It was another one of her reckless things where she was like, I need to see Edward again.
Right. She was like, "I got to see Edward." So, you know what I'm going to do? She saw the cliff diving, and she was like,
"I'm going to go dive off a cliff."
Right.
And she does.
Well, I do have to say, as a total side note, the shirt that she was wearing in that scene, I used to have that shirt.
Oh, I didn't notice.
She wears lots of American Eagle and lots of the
God
time
bless.
stuff.
God
Yeah.
bless.
A lot of her jeans are American Eagle, and I was like, "Oh my God, I used to wear this."
Sure.
Anyway, so she jumps into the ocean. As she's jumping into the ocean, she's like, she sees Edward, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Right.
But as she jumps into the ocean, the current pulls her under. Having been in that situation, it's terrible. And so she gets kind of like slammed around. Well, as she's under the water, she sees Victoria's little head, because Victoria has been stalking the area.
Right.
And she gets pulled out by Jacob just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time.
And she like looked like she died when they pulled her out. Did you notice? She was like, her lips were blue. Like,
with the makeup budget, it was better.
It was better. And so she was like, "Oh no, I didn't. That was cool. I love that." I'm like, "Bitch, you did not love that." This bitch tried to sell me on this whole movie that she loved adrenaline and stuff, and I was like, "You do not. You don't.
You're just borderline."
So they go back to her house, and when they enter the house, Alice is just hanging out there,
chilling.
Jacob didn't smell that. I guess not. It's fine. But she's just stalking the Swan house, and then But Bella goes in by herself, and then Jacob, because her and Jacob like fight a little bit, and then he comes back in, and he's like, "Oh my God, there's a vampire here."
Well, they saw that the car was there. That's how they knew she was there.
Right. She thought it was Edward. It was not Edward.
Right. Or Carlisle. She said that's Carlisle's car.
Oh, that's right. It was Carlisle's car.
But I'm sure she thought it was Edward. I'm sure.
And so she goes in. Jacob's in the house. They're all fighting with each other, sort of. And then the phone rings, and Jacob picks it up, and is like, he's planning a funeral, or he's whatever.
Oh.
And then hangs up.
Because Alice was there because
she couldn't see Bella anymore. She couldn't see
Bella because now that she was surrounded by the pack, she thought when she jumped off the
cliff, she was dying.
She was now dead.
Right. She didn't see Jacob saving her.
So, but then the person that called on the phone was Edward. Calling and saying, Is Bella dead? The tea? And he was like,
"What's the tea, honeybee?"
And what's the tea, honeybee? And Jacob said, "Well, He's busy. He's planning a funeral. So
right.
Goodbye.
And
so then Edward thought, oh,
Jacob
Bella's dead.
knew that it was Edward.
Messy.
And was like, bitch, guess what I'm going to do? Break
Messy
you bitch ass
with
up.
a capital S-E.
Right. So that basically sets a domino effect of Edward thinks that Bella's dead. No one can get a hold. Edward crushes his phone. Let me just start there. He crushes his cell phone after he hangs up. As any normal person would do, hearing some news you don't like.
Of course.
And then decides he's going to kill himself. So Alice is like, we got to get to fucking Italy because he's about to go to the Volturi and he's going to ask them. He's going to ask for them to kill him. They're going to say no, and he's going to reveal himself at this big festival thing at noon. Anyways. So, and I remember the book was way more descriptive about their travel time than obviously the movie's not going to go into detail, but so
because they had to like get on a plane.
So they got on a plane. They got on a Virgin plane. I'm sure Virgin paid a lot of money to be in that movie. So they show up to Italy. They're driving in this car, and Alice is like, I can't go any faster than this. She's probably going like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Which, that kills me because they kind of talk about that in the book, too, where, like, he's such a, like, good driver, even though he's, like, driving really fast. But I'm like, just because you're fast doesn't mean the car is fast. The car still obeys the laws of physics.
I'm pretty sure Alice could probably have had Bella sit on her back, and she probably would have gotten there faster than the car. I mean, I'm like, why didn't you do that? So they're driving. They get to this town, and
in that too, Bella, her sitting in this driver's seat, and she's got like her legs up. She's like she's got like she got lice or something. Like
she's like, I can't. You gotta tell me how much time. And she's like, we have 5 minutes. And so Edward, in the interim, Edward has gone to the Volturi. They're like, we're not going to kill you. We'd love for you to come and join us though, because you can read minds. And
he says, guess what, bitch?
He says, bye. Felicia.
Time to expose.
Yeah.
www.expose.com.
So he's just hanging out in like a dark alley
until noon.
Until he is going to reveal himself. So they're driving up, and I remember, like I said, in the book it was much more of a big deal, but and she was like, where do I have to go? But somehow in the movie Bella knew exactly where the fuck she had to go.
Because Alice was seeing it.
Well, yeah, but in the book, like, she kept telling her this is what you need to ask for, because in the movie she gets dropped like right where she needs to be, but in the book she got dropped like somewhere else in the town.
She had to dramatically push through everybody.
Right, and everybody's wearing like red capes because it's some vampire
festival. Yeah,
it's like some vampire festival.
Saint something who got all the vampires out of. Which, spoiler alert, didn't.
Right. So then you can see Edward in the corner. He's like taking off his robe, which, if you want to have a fun fact about this movie, those abs he's got.
Not real.
Sprayed.
But
airbrushed.
So I had a question about that too, of why does he have that thin body hair? Why didn't we shave that off? Because the vampires are clean shaven, because I guess you assume vampires are clean shaven. So what's with the body hair?
This is one thing that I've not looked into this since I read the books.
It wasn't even good body hair.
It was not good. I also am curious to know if you cut your hair as a vampire, if it grows back.
Right.
Because there's some other bodily functions we will talk about later that work seemingly normal if you're a vampire, even though you're dead and the blood doesn't run through your veins. It's fine.
Right.
But the hair thing is confusing to me because I'm like, well, in the later movies he's got a lot more chest hair. Like a big old thing of chest hair. I don't know. And I'm like, does your hair can't grow because you're dead.
When you're dead, yeah, your hair doesn't.
So I don't know how to answer your question.
Wait, Stephanie?
Right.
Call us.
Stephanie, call us. And so she sees him and he's like about to, and it's
walk out.
It's sunny as fuck. And there's this little kid that's like, look, mommy, there's a weird guy with no shirt on.
Sparkling.
And Bella starts running towards Edward, which, side note, I want to know what kind of bra she's wearing because
she don't have no titties. That's what bra she's wearing.
That is true.
She's got single A cup.
She runs into him and she covers him so you can't see him, and he thinks he's dead. He thinks he's died instantly. And he's like, oh, this is heaven. And oh my God, he's just so real. Inside. And she basically slaps him and is like, guess what, bitch? We're about to be the Volturi, like, because you're an idiot right now. And he's like, oh, you're alive? Right. Oh my God, what do you? And she was like, no, blah, blah, blah. And she says something that I wrote down, and I will never not hear this. And at the time, again, I was like, oh my God, this is so romantic. And now I'm like, wow, you're an idiot. She says, it doesn't make sense for you to love me. And I said, get some self-esteem and self-love, you dumb slut. She's like, it just doesn't make sense for you to love me. Like, they're having this like moment before they go see the
borderline personality disorder. I'm telling you.
She's too young to be diagnosed with it. She's only 17.
She's 18 at this point.
He's still too young.
Not for me. Sorry.
I love it. So they have this whole little moment, and then the Volturi are like, hey, you need to come with us.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And Edward's like, well, Bella, you go back to the festival, and I'll just go down there. And they're like, no, she's coming with us. So they go down this long corridor.
And then Alice busts in the fucking door and says, come on, guys.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, literally bust the door open. Is like, come
Thank
on.
God she was there, though.
The only person with sanity. Probably.
Right. So they all go down to this little dungeon. And, of course, there's, like, a little human receptionist. And Bella's like, oh, my God, she's a human? And Edward's like, yeah, she's hoping they'll turn her. And Bella looks at her like she's a fucking idiot. And I'm like, that's what you want to be.
You're literally doing the same thing.
In the book, it was more of a big deal, too. But I was like, you're a little idiot.
Right, because she's like, well, they'll probably kill her.
So
they'll probably kill you, bitch.
So they go to the Volturi, who is headed by Michael Sheen, great actor, great casting choice. Great casting choice. A lot of good casting choices.
We have Dakota Fanning. Iconic.
Yeah, she's one of the Volturi.
Probably my favorite character, I have to say.
Yeah,
Jane.
I like Michael Sheen.
Jane.
I like the other guy I can't remember his name, but he's the one that is like so tired. The brown haired guy. He like hates life.
He was in Supernatural as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Volturi casting is actually pretty
Very
good.
Yeah.
So they're all talking, and then he's just like, well,
if I were a vampire, I would want to be in the Volturi.
You would.
Yeah.
That's a very Slytherin thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to be a part of it, but I'd want to be on their good side. I'd want to be like Carlisle. Like I could be a part of it for as long as I want, and then I could be like, bye. So they're all talking. Long story short, they're like, well, now we're gonna kill Edward because he basically almost outed himself. And as they're like literally about to kill him, Kristen Stewart, Bella, screams, no, don't kill me instead, please. And they're like, what? You want to die for him? What?
A little human.
And then they kind of get interested in her. And because the main Volturi guy, Michael Sheen, if he touches you, he can see all your true thoughts. Arlo. Yeah. Is that his name?
Arlo. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, Arlo. Right?
You're probably right. I just never really paid attention to what his name was.
Hold on. We'll look. What? We'll ask Debbie. Debbie is his name. Arlo.
That's close enough. I was like, that does sound right.
Yeah.
So he touches Edward and like sees that they're in love, and that's when he says the tua incantante, which is like your blood sings for you or whatever. So they're like, well, we need to kill Bella because she knows all about us, and like humans can't know about our existence. And then Alice is like, no, bitch. Like,
hold on.
She's gonna be a vampire. We're gonna turn her. I've seen it myself. Gives her hand to Aro, right? Aro. I almost said Arlo. Gives her hand to Aro and says, here, you just look at this now. And then you see this vision. We need to talk about this vision. Why is she wearing like a Thumbelina dress?
I don't know.
But it's Edward and Bella running in some meadow. It's where the
crawdads sing. Like,
right. They're like in the forest running. They're dressed like they're from 1903.
She's got flats on, for God's sake.
She wasn't even wearing shoes. She was barefoot.
Flats.
Oh, they were flats. She's running
like ballerina flats. Yeah.
She's running. Her eyes are gold. The gold eye,
sparkling.
Oh, we didn't explain this very well. But if you drink human blood as a vampire, your eyes are
red
or bright red. Yeah. The more thirsty you get, the darker your eyes get. Can get all the way to like black. If you drink animal blood like the Cullens do, your eyes are like gold and amber, whatever. So her eyes were gold. And he's like, oh, okay. We'll let her go since you're gonna change her, sure. But don't
only have 6 months or something.
Don't wait too long, because if you wait too long, then we're gonna kill y'all.
Well, and this is too where they learn that her power, she's immune to their powers, because he can't read her mind. And then, Jane, who her power is to Dakota Fanning.
Yes.
Her power is to give pain.
Right.
She's not able to
do it on Bella. Yeah. So Aro can't read her thoughts, and so they're like, huh, that's weird, but okay, whatever. So as they're leaving, they're exiting the Volturi, and they're like, Alice and Edward and Bella are like, we gotta get the fuck out of here before they do something. Go. They're bringing a horde of human people for feeding time, which is just terrifying. And then the book, I think the book was scarier, and then I think she was affected more by it in the books because there's a little bit. So as they're being led into the little chamber, they all die. You all hear them screaming. It's very, very. It's a little. The violence is a lot. Anyways, next thing you know. Bella's waking up in her room at her dad's, and she's like, oh, that was crazy. That's so crazy.
Life is crazy.
Love is so crazy. And Edward's like, well, I didn't break your dad's rules because he told me I couldn't come through the door frame, but I just came through the window instead. And I'm like, get away. So they talk, and they're like, okay. And then Jacob wants to see her. So then I don't know if I'm missing anything major. There wasn't really much.
Not really.
And he's just like, I love you too. I can't believe you left me. It was so terrible. They just have that conversation. So then Jacob wants to talk to Bella, and so they go in the forest, and the three of them just start fighting with each other because Jacob's like, fuck you, Edward.
He's like, I can't protect you.
Right. And Edward's like, thank you though for like watching after her and like keeping her safe. Like genuinely is like, thank you. And Jacob's like, fuck off, bitch.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Roided.
And then he roids out immediately in phases, and then Bella puts herself in between. And she's like, "Stop it! Stop
you
it!
have to
Stop
hurt
it!
Me if you want to hurt each
Stop
other.
it!" And Jacob runs away in wolf form because he's pissed.
Yeah.
And then Edward turns back to Bella and is like, "Well, there's only one thing I want to do. I'll change you. I'll do it myself. But you got to do one thing." And she's like, "Anything. I'll do anything." And he's like, "Marry me." Movie cuts immediately.
Yeah.
Done.
Literally.
Which is kind of that's what happened in the book too. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
So that was New Moon.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
So New Moon, not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite if we're ranking least favorite book and least favorite movie. I couldn't deal with her being borderline the whole time. I couldn't do it.
That was only the second time I watched it because I watched it when it came out, and at the time I was like, I'd also been broken up with, so I had like very resonated with it.
Much. Yeah.
And so I didn't watch it again because I was like, this is too triggering for me. I watched it as an adult and it was not triggering at all. And I was like,
not at all. It's like, girl, get over it. Mm-hmm.
It's hard because I think the story, all of her bullshit aside, I think the story is a little bit stronger than the first one, honestly. Like if you're looking at this, like the storyline, the screenplay, it's a little bit more robust.
There's more depth. Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know where I would rank it. I'm gonna wait till the end to rank all mine. I gotta think about it.
We can wait.
But yeah, she was very wishy-washy, like teenager, like.
Yeah. Which I get.
My boyfriend broke up with me.
Yeah,
I'm finding this new guy, so I like everything that he likes.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Anyways, you have any other discussion questions?
One of my things was, do you think you would rather be in love with a vampire or a werewolf?
It's hard because I would never want to be immortal. That's like my number one thing.
See, I was going to ask you, would you want to be changed? Would you want to be... Because I don't think the werewolves are immortal. I think they live a long time, but I don't think they're immortal.
I think they age slower. I think I don't know. I think they age slower, but once they stop phasing on a regular basis, then they
well, because I think some of the other like
the older
like the guy in the wheelchair, like I think
Billy,
he was
a werewolf too.
He was a werewolf at one point. So I would
you tell me
love to be immortal. I would love to be a vampire. Now, if I had to be human and I had to fall in love with one, I don't know, that's kind of hard. Because, like, vampire, like, that's kind of cool, but also they could literally kill you at any minute. I don't know how I feel about that. And they're cold. But werewolves are warm. So I don't know. And it'd be like a little dog. Like, you'd have a dog, you know? Like, you could cuddle on the couch together. And
I will say the dogs went ape shit when the dogs were on the screen. They were like, "Oh my god,
what the fuck is that?" Yeah.
Honestly, I would never want to be immortal, but I think I would choose vampire because I think the powers are much cooler. I think because you're super fast, you can see everything, you can smell everything. Mm-hmm. The werewolves have like heightened stuff, but it's not to that degree. I think, and I would not want to be immortal.
I would.
No,
love it.
I don't want to watch the world burn. Are you kidding?
I would.
Oh my god. I think I'd want to be a vampire. And there's nothing about the werewolf life that I would want. I also wouldn't want to cut my hair that short.
Well, and that one you don't have as much choice. Like you have to defend like the land. At least with a vampire, you can kind of do what you want.
Right.
But
well, so that was that.
That was that.
I
think we took a break.
We did? Oh.
No, we didn't. Oops. Oopsies. Well,
no one's coming out. Let's take a break. We'll take a break and we'll play a little quiz. We'll do our little quiz and then we will be done.
Welcome back.
Are you ready for this quiz?
Yeah, let's do this quiz.
So
what is it?
This is a BuzzFeed quiz.
Okay.
Shout out to BuzzFeed. Believe it or not, everyone has a weird new moon moment that matches their personality. Take this quiz to reveal yours.
Okay, so
we're gonna do you first, and then I'll do me. So who is your favorite vampire? Alice, Jasper, Rosalie, Emmett, Esme, Carlisle, Edward, or Bella? Bella's considered a vampire. She's not my favorite vampire.
I think I'll go Esme.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Also, these pictures of them, some of them are from Breaking Down, and I'm like, this is not correct. Choose a song from the New Moon soundtrack. Meet Me on the Equinox by Death Cab for Cutie. Friends by Band of Skulls. Hearing Damage by Tom York. Possibility by Likely. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Satellite Heart by Anya Marina. Rosalind by Bon. Oh, God, I'm going to say all these things. Bon Iver and St. Vincent. The Violet Hour by Seawolf, and Shooting the Moon by OK Go.
I don't know any of those songs.
If you heard them all, you would know. The Possibility is the one that was playing when she was in her room sitting by herself. It's like, there's a possibility.
Oh, not that one. Do the Death Cab for Cutie one.
That's actually a really good song.
Yeah.
That was, I don't think that was in the movie, actually. That was the, pick a cringy Edward Cullen quote.
Oh, God.
What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy? I like watching you sleep. And so the lion fell in love with the lamb. It's the fluorescence. I like the way you smell. You better hold on tight, Sweater Monkey.
That one.
Okay.
Jesus.
The rest of them are, it's doesn't Jacob own a shirt, and you can Google it. Choose a character who isn't a vampire. Charlie Swan, Jacob Black, Angela Weber, Billy Black, Seth Clearwater, Leah Clearwater, Jessica Stanley, or Eric Yorkie.
What, the dad?
Billy Black?
Billy Black. No. Charlie Swan.
Oh my god. Oh, okay, you meant Billy Swan.
Yeah, sorry. Billy Burke.
Pick
yeah.
Oh my god, this is spoilies for the future. Pick an actor that you totally forgot was in the Twilight Saga. Rami Malek. He's in Breaking Dawn. So Dakota Fanning, Cam Gigante, Michael Sheen, Anna Kendrick, Bryce Dallas Howard, Bobo Stewart, who is Seth Clearwater, and Christian Serratos, who is Angela Weber. I feel like everybody else is pretty well known.
Dakota Fanning, of course. I mean, I didn't forget, but
right.
She's amazing.
I kind of forgot Rami Malek was in it.
Yeah,
when I started watching.
Elements.
Yeah, I started watching Breaking, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot he was in this. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, his name was what? Ben, I think.
Yeah. Lastly, choose a 2000s outfit to wear to the hypothetical Midnight Sun movie premiere.
Oh God. Oh, there's pictures.
I had to rotate my little laptop for Kyle so he can look at these.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's quintessential 2000. I was like,
Oh, these are iconic.
Describe the one that you choose. We don't have to describe all of them.
Okay, we won't just. So I'm gonna go with Kristen Stewart's so ugly. So I'm gonna go. It's Anna Kendrick. It's a black, almost like a silk. It's a one shoulder out with a nice sleeve, and it's got like an asymmetrical top. It's got red, white, almost like polka dots on kind of half of it.
Oh, I love.
Super cute. Oh,
you got the old lady dream.
I got the old lady dream.
I know Edward was supposed to be like 100, but this was still weird, right?
Thank you. See?
Oh my god,
not
I
just
love
me.
it.
Okay, now you take it.
So, okay, I gotta pick my favorite vampire. Oh my god, this is so hard.
Is it?
Wow. I'm gonna go Carlisle, I think. It's either him or Jasper. I have a lot more respect for Jasper after I watched Eclipse again because I forgot about it. I'm going to do Herring Damage by Tom York. It is the song when they're hunting Victoria in the woods. Charlie and his friend, and then his friend dies.
Right.
Pick a cringy Edward Cullen quote. I think I'm going to do this So the Lion Fell in Love with the Lamb because I hate. Yeah. We didn't talk about it in the last movie. It's fine. Choose someone who is not a vampire. I'm going to go Billy. I like Billy Black. Pick an actor. I think I'm going to go Rami Malek because I really genuinely forgot that he was in the fucking Twilight series. Michael Sheen, you cannot forget that he was in it because he is such a main character. But I didn't
connect that it was him. I didn't connect that.
Oh. I just listened to a podcast that he was a guest on, and I was like, oh yeah. And he was on my mind, and I was like, oh yeah, he was in this. Oh my god, the outfit. Okay. Oh my god, Nikki Reed in this like silky with the belt on her waist. I mean, I'm going to choose the Ashley Green black dress with spaghetti straps where she's got a big chonky belt right on her waist.
Let me see.
It's the one next to the Anna Kendrick one. It's that one.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
The other one. I don't like the Kristen Stewart ones. I like no.
Oh my god.
Edward wearing the suit for the whole movie, which is what I talked about at the beginning.
See?
Prom was in the first movie, buddy, is what it's. So I thought that was so weird.
Good job, BuzzFeed.
That was pretty accurate.
BuzzFeed quizzes are very accurate.
Oh my god.
The validity, the internal and external validity of BuzzFeed quizzes.
I think we talked about this off the air, but I also hated how everybody called it Twilight New Moon.
Twilight New Moon.
I hated that.
It was just New Moon.
Well, yeah, in the book it was just New Moon, but yeah.
And it's like Eclipse and Breaking Dawn. It's not Twilight Breaking Dawn.
Well, and they made Eclipse Twilight Saga or whatever, but
yeah, it's the Twilight Saga, but still.
Anyways. Well, we probably won't record Eclipse and Breaking Dawn. We'll probably do it later. it's not going to come right out because you guys need a break and so do we.
Yeah, you don't want 4 in a row about Twilight. That sounds awful. And we don't want to do that.
But spoilies, there is a new Natalia Grace documentary out for those who
follow.
Who loved our I got a lot of feedback about that. I don't know about if you a lot of people liked it. Who in my life liked it. So we need to watch that, and we need to do like a little update episode because it is basically a documentary from her point of view.
Yeah, I mean, in our office, it's an obsession. My boss is hosting a watch party tomorrow.
I love that.
And
you're going to tell me if it's good.
Oh, I'm going to take notes. I'm ready because it's from her point. Because I think it's different people. I don't think it's the same. Is it the same people? Well, I mean, it's the documentary.
I think it is different. Yeah, I think it is different.
And it's more from. It's called Natalia Speaks or something.
Yeah,
or Natalia's Voice, and it looks so good.
It does look pretty good.
They're more about her, and then there's a point in the trailer where Natalia and Michael sit down.
Confront. I remember when I sent you the thing, and I was like, "There's going to be a confrontation."
I was screaming.
She's like, she asked him something like, why did you do all that stuff? And he's like, we can't talk about it.
Drama.
The drama. Anyways,
so Bolo.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Bolo for that. And if there's anything else you would like us to do episodes on, sometimes we do these movie things because we think it's funny.
Yeah, we don't know what you guys want.
Yeah, we don't know. So you can comment on stuff. I think somebody commented on one of our things that was like, you guys should like post so we can discuss.
Yeah, that was Anne. Thanks, Anne.
I don't
call this out. Why don't you guys look? Some of us are boomers and don't know how to use social media and forget when it's Too Tired Tuesday. You're lucky that episodes even come out sometimes because there have been times where
there have been very close calls where we have had some struggle bus moments or like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We're not.
Well, we'll try to get better at the social media. It is so hard though. I don't know. We might hit some good stuff with the Twilight. I'll start tagging Twilight.
I've already sent a couple things.
Oh, good.
Did you see my one?
No.
I sent one for us to. We'll have to look at it.
Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm scared.
On that note.
All right.
Stay tired.
And petty.